Hello, Gemini. I'm Poetic Heretic, and this is your October 2019 tarot forecast. So let me get my cards set up here, and let me also remind you that this applies to your sun sign, or this applies if you are a Gemini sun, rising, or moon. This will be all relevant information for you. And also, since this month we have Halloween, I decided to use the Tarot of Vampires deck by Ian Daniels for this reading. So you can kind of see the back of the cards here, and I'll hold up the individual cards to the camera, give it sort of a spooky vibe for Halloween. Halloween and all of October, have a nice spooky tarot reading. Who doesn't like that? So, all right, without further ado, let us begin. We would like a Celtic cross reading for all Geminis, sun, rising, and moon for the month of October 2019. Let's see what we get. What will be the energy for Gemini in October of 2019? What insight can we gain from the universe for the sign of Gemini for the month of October 2019? Oh, well, that is certainly it. All right, let's take a look here. The Daughter of Knives. The World. Justice. The Prince of Knives reversed. The Four of Skulls. The Four of Knives reversed. The Four of Scepters reversed. The Nine of Grails reversed. The Eight of Grails. I guess I didn't really show that one long enough, did I? In case you're wondering, for the two previous signs, I didn't show the cards until after I drawn them. So now I'm trying to show them as I'm drawing them. So this is actually kind of the first time that I'm doing this specifically and with this deck. If any of you have seen my live streams, then you probably know that I've done many live tarot readings before, and right here at this desk, but those have all been with the Rider-Waite, which those cards, like, you can just look at them and instantly you know what they are. Whereas, like, if I hold one up and I look at the camera, I'm like, with this deck, I'm like, what is that? Because I'm trying to look at my screen. Anyway, this one I can tell that was the Prince of Grails reversed. Yes. So I'm going to take a moment to let this reading really sink in and get a feel for it. And then I'm going to tell you as in depth, but without going into too many details as possible, what it means and tell you the most relevant stuff for you. So give me a moment to analyze this here. Okay. All right. This is coming together. There's a lot of stuff going on in this reading. So let's get into it, going card by card. You're beginning the month with the Daughter of Knives. This represents your current outside influences. So you can take a closer look at it right there. This corresponds to the Page of Swords in the classic tarot deck. Sometimes known as the Princess of Swords. So, first of all, with the Daughter of Knives being a court card, you could be looking at an individual, likely a young female air sign individual who is playing a very significant role in your life this month of October, especially around the beginning of the month, but it could even be the whole month. Now, an air sign, that could, of course, be another Gemini, could be a Libra or Aquarius. In some cases, you might even be looking at yourself, Gemini, saying that, and especially with one other thing that I see coming up here, one theory is that maybe you were feeling a little off of your game recently, but now you're feeling more like yourself again. That would be one interpretation. And I'll get into more of why that is later. But the overall energy of this card, when it is not referring to a specific person, it's only going to refer to a specific person for likely some of you, an amount of you. It's not going to be all of you. When it's not a specific person, we're talking about the energy of curiosity, of intellectual development, of intellectual stimulation, new ideas. Because again, this, in like the Rider-Waite deck, this would be the Page of Swords. There is a risk of being overly opinionated. It's like this. Think of the young, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed person, especially someone who's rather smart, who first gets a hold of, say, some unusual or particularly interesting ideas, and then that person takes those ideas and sort of almost wields them like a weapon. They sort of adopt a new belief system almost based on new ideas, and then they start sort of pushing those ideas on everyone. I think some of you will get what I'm getting at, and others maybe not so. But for those of you who get what I'm getting at, that is a big part of the energy, I believe, of the Page of Swords and Daughter of Knives. So, you could be feeling like that early in the month, or other people around you, or maybe one person in particular is kind of like that, or maybe you're just feeling very opinionated, very self-expressive. This could also be great for creative thinking. And I believe in the astrology reading that we did, for some of this month, you have Mercury transiting your 5th house, more of that creative thinking right there. So isn't that interesting, dear Gemini? So that's what we have there. Overall, it's good though. I mentioned kind of the risks of that card, but it's far better to have that card and to have all of these like exciting new ideas and like intellectual progress than it is to, say, have that card reversed and have a bunch of intellectual stagnation. Like it's exciting. New ideas and mental activity is exciting. For your challenge card this month, you got the World card, the final card of the major arcana. And yay, it decides to focus for us. So, taken in conjunction with the Daughter of Knives card that we just went over, there could be an even greater message here that we can sort of synthesize, that is saying that this month it's really great for you to take your ideas out into the world, or take your ideas and manifest them in some way that culminates, or that concludes, or that is seen or heard again by the world. I hope this is making sense. Taking your ideas out into the world where they can be heard. Now, in another sense, of course, the World card is going to talk about, like we just look at this more specifically, is going to talk about the idea of manifestation, of the completion of the journey, of great joy and celebration for the completion of the journey, or the completion of a big phase in your life. And so it might even be your challenge this month to bring something to a close, or something that you've been working on for quite some time, to conclude it at long last. It's time to reach for the finish line and hit the finish line and conclude the cycle that you have been in. So that's quite the significant possibility. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to say with this before we move forward? Oh yes, I guess one more thing. A lot of times when I see the World card show up, and especially if I see it show up like in the challenge position, the way it seems to play out in my experience is like the cards are sort of pushing you to get out into the world. And like I said, it could be just with the Daughter of Knives there, get your ideas out into the world. Or it may very well be saying, I should say, or it may very well be saying, get out into the world. That will help you this month. That is your challenge this month. And when I see it show up in other areas of a Celtic cross reading, it's almost always the case that, like if it's a reading for myself, that I'm going to be getting out into the world at that time, or for someone else, they're going to be getting out into the world. And the challenge showing up as a challenge card, again, it's more like saying, well, your challenge is to get out into the world. But you could also say, without being your challenge, you're likely to meet that challenge, especially after watching this video and knowing about this. So there you have it. Get out into the world this month. And if you feel like taking your ideas out into the world, then do that. For the underlying energy, everything forming a foundation for your current situation and your immediate environment, you got justice. The one and only justice. Card 11 of the major arcana, although some will say it is card 8. I believe its rightful place is card 11. And it focused. So again, with this card placement being more about the foundation of the month and your environment this month, I think what it's really likely saying here is that you're in a fair environment this month. People around you this month are treating you fairly, and you're coming out winning, or you're coming out victorious because of other people or the help of other people or those in your environment this month. You're getting great assistance. It would also point to clarity of thought and objectivity and fairness. So fortunately, this month it appears that you're being supported by a lot of fairness, people who are sort of seeing both sides of things, that sort of thing. With justice being ruled by Venus, it can sometimes talk about the beautification of things. And I believe, if I recall correctly from your astrology this month, Gemini, that we have Venus moving into your 6th house at some point, which I said could be a beautification of your work. And so that might even happen. Your immediate environment, so much of the month, if you're working a regular job, is going to be your work environment. And Venus in the 6th is often all about that, taking pleasure from work, seeing the beauty in work, that sort of thing. So very interesting there indeed, and definitely an overall positive card and placement. Now, this next card is interesting. For the past and issues you've had to deal with that then lead into the present situation this month, you have the Prince of Knives reversed. So I'm going to turn it upright just to show you what it looks like. But you did get it reversed, and for the past. Yes, it focused. Now this card corresponds to the King of Swords in the classic Rider-Waite deck. And you got it reversed and in the past position. So, reversed Prince of Knives, I almost wanted to say King of Swords, but this is a tarot vampire, so Prince of Knives. With it being a court card, can talk about, typically, in this case, an adult male air sign, that's Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, that perhaps was a bit difficult for you in some way, or perhaps you had some trouble with, or that you had some conflict with, that you had some issues with in your recent past, and that has led to your current situation this October. And it may somehow be connected even to this idea of fresh new ideas, as we saw with the Daughter of Knives, this conflict in the recent past being connected to fresh new ideas in the present, and even the challenge of taking them out into the world, stuff like that, and other things that we'll be getting to. But another thing I thought of earlier, this is what I was alluding to earlier. Prince of Knives reversed, with it possibly referring to another air sign. Well, it could be referring to you, Gemini, particularly if you're an adult male Gemini air sign. And it could be saying that with the Daughter of Knives immediately following it, well, I guess it wouldn't matter which gender you are then. If we sort of forget the genders for a moment, especially because this is a general reading, and so I don't think the genders are always necessarily going to be absolute, but if we just look at, okay, issues with an air sign in the past, stability with an air sign in the present, if both of these were you, Gemini, then it could be saying that in the recent past you simply felt off in a very significant way. You did not feel like yourself, whereas now in the present or at the beginning of October, you're feeling like yourself again. That's certainly a very real possibility, I do think. I mean, what are the chances that we would get this combination, both referring to air signs and for yourself, Gemini, and air sign? But anyway, if this, however, was not referring to that, nor was referring to a specific person, then what this card means in general is often the idea in its reversal of not thinking clearly, not thinking logically, being led astray, illusions, delusions, confusion, things of this nature. So if that was you in the recent past, then I guess the good news is, again, looking to the Daughter of Knives, you should be feeling much more clear-minded in the present. And with justice being the underlying energy, it says that one or more people in your immediate environment should be helping you to think more clearly this month. So there you have it. For what you hope to achieve this month, you got the Four of Skulls. Let's hold that up to the camera. This corresponds to the Four of Pentacles in the classic tarot decks. So the Four of Skulls in the hope to achieve position essentially says that what you're reaching for this month, your highest hope, your highest wish, your highest goal is security, safety and security, especially of a financial sense, although it does not have to be in a financial sense. It may be that you want to secure, to overuse that word, a secure income, a secure and lucrative job, maybe something that you are wanting, but security in general is the theme, and sort of protection and self-protection, especially because, as you might have noticed at the beginning of the video when I drew all the cards and showed them to you at first, you have not one, not two, but 3 fours in this reading. So emphasizing that 4th house, which is all about security. That's going to be quite the theme for you this month. But it's interesting because that's in contrast to your challenge card of the World. So if we look at this in a deeper sense this month, it may be saying that while you want security, what the universe is really asking you to do right now, what is best for you to do right now, is to sort of face your fears and go outside of your comfort zone, go outside of that security into the world, as we saw earlier. You know, that may very well be the case. In fact, I would say that's the case for a lot of people these days, is the need to sort of push themselves outside of their comfort zone, if only even just a little bit. not exactly an advocate of doing that a whole hell of a lot, unless maybe you really want to. Maybe if you're a fire sign or something, but at least a little bit, and expose yourself to the world. So for the near future, representing the first week or two of the month of October, you got the Four of Knives reversed. So I'll just show that real quick up close. This corresponds to the Four of Swords in a classic tarot deck. And you did get it reversed and for the near future, but I'm just showing it upright for now. So, Four of Knives reversed is often an indicator of the need for rest, that you're not getting your rest, you're not getting your relaxation. You may be overworking yourself. And it's an interesting contrast to the indications of mental clarity that we saw earlier, because this card in its reversal can often also mean that you now all of a sudden have a lack of mental clarity, perhaps excess subjectivity, irrational thinking, illusions, and confusion, things of that nature. So it's fascinating to see how you start out the month apparently thinking clearly, most likely anyway, but sometime within that first week or two, the energy shifts. And it's interesting how we saw in your astrology, a lot of things did shift in that first week or two, especially that first week, I believe. But the energy shifts, and then all of a sudden you've kind of lost that mental clarity, quite possibly. And then when we look at justice for your underlying energy and immediate environment, saying one or more people in your immediate environment are supporting you with mental clarity and helping you to see things logically and clearly, it may in fact be because all of a sudden you need it. So do take that into consideration. For your attitude or position on the situation about halfway through the month, you have the Four of Scepters reversed. So I'll show that real quick. You got it reversed, but I'm just flipping it upright just to show it on camera here. If you're wondering why I'm showing these cards so much now, it's because this is one of the only times you'll get to see them, at least when I'm doing readings, because again, I'm just using them for this month since we have Halloween. Though I may suddenly bring them back at some point, briefly. Just maybe, we'll see. So the Four of Scepters reversed. Again, this is correspondent to the Four of Wands in a classic tarot deck. Upright, it's a very positive card, all about celebration, happiness, family, togetherness, taking a break from things. In its reversal, it can talk about basically blocked energy in all of those areas, having you feeling maybe not so excited about life, maybe not so energized, having you feeling like you didn't quite manifest what you wanted, or you didn't quite reach the goal. And with it being a 4, and now we have 2 4s in a row, both reversed, and the 4 before that was in the hope to achieve position, talking about security, you're hoping to achieve security. This may be saying that you're feeling kind of insecure all of a sudden this month, or at least by halfway through the month. You're feeling insecure, and that's why you want security. But again, we look back at that challenge card, and it's the World, and it's saying maybe the antidote to your insecurity this month is to get out of your comfort zone and push yourself a little bit out into the world and explore the world. So do consider that. So, I mean, it's not a terrible card to get for your attitude or position, in its reversal. There are many sources that will say that this card is so positive when upright that even in its reversal, it's not entirely negative. And for once, I think maybe with this card, I'm inclined to agree, or at least entertain the likelihood of that much more than other cards, because not only have I seen a lot more sources say that, but it kind of sort of seems to play out in my experience of this card, though it can also manifest negatively. But, so maybe you're feeling pretty good and somewhat celebratory of things and happy about things. You're just not feeling great. In fact, we could look at it this way. The World card is saying your challenge is to manifest something this month, to manifest the completion of something. And this is your feeling like, oh, I'm almost there, but I'm not quite there. Thus, therefore, it's your challenge. So there you have it. For the outside force coming in, you got the 9 of Grails reversed. Let's take an extra close look at that. This is something coming at you this month. And you did get it reversed, but I'm just showing it upright here so you can see what it looks like normally. And it is correspondent to the 9 of Cups in a classic deck. So 9 of Grails reversed, outside force coming in. This is essentially the energy of dissatisfaction and disappointment, sadness, not getting your wishes fulfilled, not feeling satisfied. However, before you get worried about this, remember, this is the outside force coming in. This isn't really, or likely not even at all, referring to you. Now, for some reason, you're attracting it, you're bringing it into your life for whatever reason, but this is likely someone else or even a situation. This could be someone else coming to you who shows up in your life who is disappointed, saddened, dissatisfied, and maybe you're going to assist them in some way, but regardless, here they are. Or yes, and this would, I guess, involve you a little bit more, it could be a situation that comes your way that is dissatisfying, disappointing, and you have to find a way to sort of overcome that challenge. I would say, let's see, this is interesting. So if some of you are hoping to do a lot of traveling this month, or even just some traveling, especially if it's long distance traveling, like to another country, or even maybe you could say from one side of a very large country to the other, that sort of thing. If you're going to kind of go into basically foreign territory, or at least relatively foreign territory, long distance travel, this card could represent, with it being a 9 and with it being reversed, something that is like an obstacle in your path. Because we have, again, the challenge card being the World for you, saying getting out into the world. For some of you, that may mean travel to another country. Well, 9 of Grails reversed, the 9th house deals with long distance travel. This reversal indicates blocked energy. This is the outside force coming in. There may be something that is blocking you, that is an obstacle to that travel that you are trying to make happen. So just letting you know that's coming your way. How you deal with it is up to you. Or I should say that's likely coming your way. With these being general readings, you can't always expect them to be 100% accurate, though I do my best. I aspire to get as close to 100% accurate as can possibly be had for general readings. All right, so for your hopes or fears, you got the 8 of Grails. Let's take a closer look at that. And finally, after 3 reverse cards, you did get this one upright. This corresponds to the 8 of Cups in a classic tarot deck. And again, you got it in your hopes or fears. So basically, 8 of Grails or 8 of Cups in hopes or fears, we're talking about your being afraid that you're going to have to leave something behind, or that you're going to have to leave a difficult situation behind, that you're going to have to make some tough choices. You know, the 8 of Grails is like, we comprehend what is right for us emotionally and creatively. We do what has to be done. Fortunately, this is just falling in your hopes or fears. It's not necessarily reflecting any real manifested reality, at least not yet. But yes, this month you may be afraid. In fact, I would say you likely are afraid that you're going to have to leave something important behind, or something that maybe was previously important to you but no longer is behind, that you're going to have to move on, you're going to have to move forward, maybe even having to leave something of lesser importance now behind for something that is of greater importance, something that is of deeper significance. You know, the idea of sacrifice perhaps is relevant here. You may be afraid that you'll have to make a sacrifice this month. So there you go. Not exactly an easy card to get, but one that, if you sort of follow through with what it's advising you to do, is ultimately worth it. Well worth it in the end. So, your final outcome card this month. How do you conclude the month of October? Well, you got the Prince of Grails reversed. So let me hold that up in its upright position and show you a bit of what it looks like here. If you haven't already guessed, this corresponds to the King of Cups in the classic tarot deck. All right. So first of all, with this being a court card, it could, and it being reversed also, it could manifest as an adult male water sign. That's Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, that you have some kind of conflict or issue with, particularly around the end of the month. Again, with its reversal, that's indicating some kind of conflict potentially. However, it's not going to be like that for all of you. For others, I'm sorry if you're hoping for good news, but I've got to tell it like it is. You know, my spiritual practice is authenticity, so what do you expect? Prince of Grails reversed is often the energy of coldness, of a lack of emotion, a lack of emotional understanding. Now, it's interesting because I would say this could be someone else who is not emotionally understanding you, or it could be yourself who is not being emotionally understanding. So be wary of that. It can also, again, Grails or Cups talk about, well, they are the element of water, which is emotion. Cups talk about emotion, or water talks about emotion, however you want to say it. So any reversal is often indicative of a sort of emotional upheaval, a lack of understanding in relationships especially. And so it's not the easiest card to get. But you know what? Just for you, Gemini, I'm going to draw one more card just to see if we can get some additional insight into what that might be. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I'm just going to see here real quick. It's Temperance reversed. Here, I'll just show that to you briefly. So without going sort of deep into all the potential symbolism and everything of this card, I'm going to say that basically Temperance reversed talks about the failure to reconcile opposing polarities. So that could be what that Prince of Grails reversed is talking about for you, Gemini, is there are two opposing somethings. there are two opposing polarities, whatever those refer to, and for some reason they cannot be reconciled at this time, or at the very least, the probabilities that they will not be reconciled at this time. But there may be the possibility with this card showing up that you can flip it upright and reconcile those opposing polarities. So, there's a lot that could be said about that. That's well beyond the scope of this reading. If you're interested, I would recommend Googling this card and Googling what it means to reconcile polarity and stuff like that. There's a lot of great videos on YouTube and just resources on the internet in general about that. But yes, like if someone's not understanding you or you're not understanding someone else, there may be a sort of polarity thing here where if one, or especially if both people, can try to step back from the situation enough to see things from the other's point of view, then you may be seeing a far better situation. But as for now, we did get it reversed. All right, so that's it, Gemini. Looks like you guys have an interesting month. Now, I know there may be some challenges this month, but remember, for that underlying energy, you did get justice. So at least you have some strong support this month, even as you may have to deal with some potentially difficult challenges. At least you've got that clear-minded, logical, objective support from one or more people in your immediate environment. And like I said, if you want to look deeper into these things, Google the Temperance card, Google alchemy and what it means to reconcile polarities and all of that kind of stuff, or search here on YouTube, reconciling polarities or things of that nature. And there's a lot of great stuff out there about that. So again, I hope you have a great month. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to subscribe, if you're not already, feel free to do that, because I plan to be back with more astrology and tarot forecasts and astrology and tarot related videos in the very near future. So thanks again so much. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.